Madam Chairperson, you have 3 members present and 2 absent.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is to have a motion to set the agenda.
So moved, Madam Chairman.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay.
If everyone will vote, please.
You have 3 yes votes.
Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the January 2018 Audit Committee meeting minutes. Do we have any discussion? If not, do we have a motion to accept as?
Move to approve the minutes of the January 18th, 2018 Audit Committee, Madam Chairman.
Do I have a second?
Second.
If everyone will vote, please.
You have 3 yes votes.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is for any public input for items on the agenda. Doesn't appear that we have anyone for that, so the next item on our agenda is new business, and that will be to hear from Mark Trace, who's here to present from the Comptroller's Office the June 30, 2017 Blount County audit.
Good evening. I just wanted to let you all know that once again, Blount County had a clean opinion. It was an unmodified opinion. There was no material weaknesses, no significant deficiencies in internal controls. Were no findings in the report for this year. And the county also qualified as a low-risk auditee for federal programs. So I think there has been about 12 counties so far this year in the 2017 cycle that have gotten clean opinions or no finding reports. So that's to be commended.
That's excellent. Thank you.
Okay.
My hat's off to the county for another clean year. We really appreciate that as an audit committee. I think I just want to remind the committee members that are here tonight, just like I always do at every meeting, what we're here to do to make sure that we are comfortable with the independence, the completeness, and the competence of the audit staff. So we'll open it up for questions from our committee to ask of Mr. Trace. Do I have anyone with any questions regarding the audit for this year?
Just have a couple. The audit report talks about 2 component units that were not material, so they're not in the audit. Were they in there last year? I didn't go back and look last year.
No.
Or were they immaterial last year also?
Those are 2 really small ones that have been immaterial for a number of years.
Okay.
That's our department's policy. If they're less than 15%, we do not include them. Those are, I think one of them's about 2%.
Yeah, one of them's 911, I mean,
Yeah,
emergency.
911 I think was the largest of the
What's your
2.
percentage if it's not?
I think we use 15% in most counties, and
Okay.
then we use materiality.
But
So,
those entities are audited by someone, correct?
they are. Those audit reports are on our website. They're required to go through our division and contract with our division, and then those are posted. But we just do not include them. The only counties that we include all the component units in are the ones that have a certificate, GFOA certificates, and that's about 3 counties in East Tennessee, 2 to 3. So, but very few 911s are included.
Just as an aside, Suzanne, we might want to look at those at some point in time.
That sounds good. I have it on our list.
Yeah, they should all be on our website. Some of them are not finished when we do our audit, but we'll use the 2016 financials or the previous year financials. But
Did you happen to know who does those audits? Or you?
I can't recall right offhand. I can get the information
No,
emailed
we
to
can
you.
get it.
Okay.
We can get it.
But yeah,
I believe it might be Ingham Overholton Bean, but I could be. maybe
I think
doesn't.
they do one of them. That sounds familiar. I'm not sure. I don't have the information with me right offhand.
They're audited, but they're too small.
Oh, yeah.
So really the only component unit, the only true component unit we have in there is Blount Memorial Hospital.
Yeah, that's the only material component unit you have in the hospital. There's some other entities in Blount County that their audits should be out there as well. Utility districts, things of that nature, city audits, all those those individual entities are on our website. They're all, if they're contracted with our department, their audits are public records and on our website.
Theoretically, they should all be completed by now, shouldn't they?
They should all be completed by March 31 and released. That's where I'm at right now. We still have 3 we've not released, or we've not sent to Nashville yet. So we're running about 70 audits right now. Last I heard, we've got about 25 to go.
I know last year, with folks at the county, put together a huge internal control document. It was pretty lengthy, looked like. We looked at some of that, approved it, and looked at it. Did you use any of that, or was that helpful, or did you?
Oh, yes,
in your
yes.
audit procedures?
Yeah, they passed a statute a couple of years ago that required counties to have those. A lot of counties had the policies, they just weren't written down. That just gave everybody a real good example. It helped us a lot too while we were doing our interim work, our planning, looking at risk-based, where's our risk, where's controls at. So we did use that document. So.
Was your time in this year's audit about comparable to last year? Time and people you used about the same?
Yeah. I'm looking at rotating some staff. We've had some turnover. I've got a staff of about 15 field auditors, and a third of them have been hired within the last 2 years. So we're trying to get our experience level up a little bit so we can do a little more rotation. So we're going to try to do some rotations this year. So.
Are there any new pronouncements that are going to hit us in the coming year that we might need to be aware of? I know GASB likes to put stuff out there, but it doesn't always apply to everybody.
OPEB. OPEB will be a very large number that comes onto the financials this year for the pensions, because right now you're just only recognizing a portion of it. You've got to bring it on like we did pensions a few years ago. So that's going to be a very large number depending on what benefits have been promised. So when you look at that Exhibit A in there, net position, that could really flip some counties when you recognize, especially school departments, when you start recognizing that big liability out there for all those retired teachers.
Entire liability will have to be on there for your end in 2019.
It's going to add significantly to the footnotes too. Remember a couple years ago?
June 30, 18th.
June 30, 18, yes. So
that's going to be a big number for most people, isn't it?
it's going to be a big number and a
What's
big
the offset?
challenge to get that number.
What's the offset? I know you got the liability. What's the offset?
Deferred sometimes, and some of it's going to hit the fund balance. It's going to hit your fund equity. That's where you're going to end up with a big minus. So, and that's just a result of all the bankruptcies and all the filings that cities and counties have had across the country. They want that number on, just like some industry has to book their numbers. So, but that'll be the first thing we'll have, and that'll be the main thing in 2018 audit.
I'll make the report look a little different.
Yes, it will.
Okay. Yeah. I'm done. Thank you. Great.
You're welcome.
Mr. French, do you have questions?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Yes, sir. Mr. Trace, did I hear you say we were one of 12 counties?
That was my last count. We've not issued all of our reports.
Okay, all the reports have.
There could be more.
Right.
But I'm
And I recall last year's audit, I believe we were one of 19, I believe. Now, and I think the year before, this is the third year in a row that we had a clean audit. I'm curious, how many counties can boast that accomplishment?
nobody in East Tennessee.
Nobody in East Tennessee.
I can tell you nobody in East Tennessee's had 3 years. I've had some that's had 2, but nobody's had 3 yet. I had one that had one before you that has had.
What about the state?
I can't speak for that.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I don't know what they've had in other areas.
I was just curious because in learning that information, I'd like to comment. I'd like to commend, and it starts at the top. I'd like to commend the mayor's office, Mr. Vineyard's office, and all the office holders. That's an accomplishment that I think stands out far above anything that I believe we could accomplish in the county. I think that's something we need to be proud of, and I look forward to next year saying it'd be 4 years in a row. So I'd like to thank all the administration and office holders of the county for giving us that accomplishment.
That is a very difficult task because not only the mayor's office, you look at schools, highways,
Yeah.
you're looking at all the elected offices plus the purchasing department. I mean, that's a very big undertaking when you consider how much Blount County purchases, that those purchases were made in compliance. At least what we tested were made in compliance. We didn't look at every transaction, but what we did look at, so.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, I have just a few questions.
Okay.
I'll keep it short.
Okay, that's fine.
Can you speak just a little bit in light of everything that's been going on in the county, mainly with the hospital? I'm very concerned as an audit committee member with independence by our auditors.
Okay.
Can you speak to what you do to ensure that the staff is independent and what type of questionnaires you go through to make sure they're not living in the county and that they're unbiased, for lack of a better term?
Right. Now, we do have some auditors that live in Blount County. They may work on the office here and there. They may not do the same office every year, but we do have some auditors that live in the county, and they do some procedures here. But we do have questionnaires for independence by AICPA that we fill out related to if you have any holdings in the county, any conflicts of interest, any family members that are employees of the county, and I take that into consideration when I do my scheduling. May have somebody who's works for the school department. Let's take, for example, I won't assign those to the school department. I would assign those to do the primary government and vice versa. So, yeah, we do have steps. We have biannual peer reviews. They're required every 3 years. We have one every other year. Those peer reviews are on our website, and that's part of what we adhere to as far as independence.
You moved on into one of my next questions. Can you
Okay.
talk a little bit more about the peer review and who does that? What has been found, if anything? Has this county ever been pulled during the peer review, or?
I'm sure it has. I don't know exactly which year. It's not been in, I've been audit manager for 3 years. It's not been pulled the last 3 years.
Okay.
But it very well could be. It's in a rotation with all 90 counties that we audit, along with all the state audits that are done. They're all in one pool. They'll pull so many from our department, so many from state audit, and that goes through the annual or the biannual peer review. The other year, we actually have an in-house peer review team that does peer review too. So we're peer reviewed every year. Standards required every 3, but we have either an internal peer review, we call it, or an external peer review every other year. So we have plenty of peer reviews. The reports are unmodified. We don't have any findings on our reports either. There's always some items for discussion they want to call that we will review with them, but we've had no modified opinion in the last few years. So.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's talk a little bit more about the process you go through. There are no findings.
Mm-hmm.
Are there other things what would qualify as a finding? Like for me, I was a little shocked when we had discussions with the hospital about things that were not disclosed in the report. Can you talk about at what level or when it would be something that you would report to us as a committee? Because I was quite shocked to find that they had not shared with us some of the things as an audit team I felt like they should have.
Okay. Well, anything that's material, or we're required to report, anything material noncompliance and significant deficiencies. We'll report any of those. We use our materiality levels to make that decision unless it's something related to a compliance issue. Sometimes we have compliance items across the state that we want to make sure everybody's aware of, so we'll have that across the board. Any findings we have that the staff will have, they'll bring to me. We will then decide how to proceed with it, but all of our findings go through our Nashville office. So
Okay.
all of our findings, we'll send them to Nashville. Nashville will make the decision to be for consistency across the state, so we treat everybody consistent, what goes in reports and what don't. This is our findings. They look over our exits. We have an exit conference. They look at that exit conference. They'll also look at what we have in the audit report, what we pulled off that exit conference to go in audit report. So there'll be some minor compliance items sometimes, maybe a small purchase that didn't have a approval signature on it.
Absolutely.
Things like that just kind of fall through the cracks of normal day work. There might be an issue across the state where we know they're getting ready to be legislation presented that's going to change the statute. If we know that's getting ready to change, or if a statute just changed, let's say one changed in July, went into effect in July, and the county had already committed to doing something, and that run over into August or September after that statute changed, we wouldn't have a finding on that. So we try to use some common sense on items like that. But as far as I know, Blount County, what I can recall, I don't know of anything. There might have been a few small items here and there, just items for discussion that we just want to make people aware of. There was a big issue this year dealing with buying items off of a cooperative purchasing agreement. That statute was changed. It led to some confusion. So we try to talk to people about things of that nature, so just make them aware of it.
Teach.
Yeah, try to.
We appreciate that. And thank you once again for everything you all do at the county. We really appreciate it. I think that is all of my questions. Well, just one more.
Okay.
So you said that it would only be if it was material that would make it into a finding. Is that a percentage and a dollar amount that's determined
It is.
each year?
Yes.
And just to clarify, and you may have said this, and I was just trying to let everything sink in. Let's say it's not material. Does that get reported to the state review process also?
Yes.
Okay, so they see it, someone, okay.
Yeah.
Thank
And then
you
we'll
very
make the
much.
decision to be consistent. But there's multiple materiality points on a government audit based on the opinion units. You have materiality levels for like the aggregate information in there. You'll have opinion units for the major fund, each of the major funds, and then you have one at the government-wide level. So things that may be not as material at one point may be more material as you go down the list. As the school department have their own materiality points as well based on their major funds or where we opine. So,
Thank you.
Okay.
I have no further questions.
all righty.
Any other further questions from the committee? Okay, thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
We'll have further discussion on this one and have a recommendation at our next meeting back to commission on whether we want to take any further action. No further business on that. The next item on the agenda is to discuss and wrap up what we discussed at the last meeting when we met with Ingram, Overholt, and Bean. Do I have a motion or do we have further discussion from the committee on what we want to report back to commission on the school board?
I would recommend that we report that we had the meeting with them and accepted their audit report.
Can we put that in the form of a motion then?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we have a second. We'll let Ms. Hasty get all that documented.
We accepted the audit report on the school's activity funds for June 30th, 17.
As independent, complete, and
School activity funds. Which was done by Ingram Overholt. For year ended June 30th. Put what year we're talking about. Is that all right, Susan?
we're good. Okay, we're ready to take it to a vote. If everyone will please vote. Okay, motion carries. The only other thing we need to do before we make a motion to adjourn is discuss when our next meeting will be. That sounds good.
April 15th.
After,
I was gonna say,
the
I
next
thought that was
commission
tax
meeting.
day, yeah. Whoa. Madam Chairman, that's fine with me. I would like to request that we send a letter to the members of the hospital, the board, and have each request that their presence be here at our next audit committee is.
Yes, April the 19th then, and we will take care of that and get notification out. I'll coordinate with Mr. Vineyard's office and who we need to take care of that.
Thank you,
Okay?
Madam Chairman.
All right.
Excuse me, you may want to look at one or two of those other audits at that time if it's
Will do. I'll go ahead and follow up on that for an agenda item as well.
9/11 and, gee, what was the other one? It's 9/11 and, somebody help me out. What's the other one that's not in there?
I'm not certain what the other one is, but I will look it up,
Okay.
and we'll have them here at the next meeting. Do we have any other further discussion? All right, there being no further business, do I have a motion that we adjourn? I'm so sorry. Hold on,
I think it's a wise decision what you did about reporting to the commission. Just want to remind you, statutorily, you have one annual report that you're required to do. Anything other than that is volunteer. So by virtue of you meeting, everything you do goes to the full commission. So it's not necessary to do a report per se each month or each time you meet to commission. Everything goes to them. But you are required by statute to do an annual report, which would just be a culmination of what you've done for the year.
okay. So we don't have to do it on a per report basis as we review. We can do it at one time.
That's correct.
Okay.
But everything you do when you meet individually, those minutes and the proceedings of this body go to the full commission.
Sounds good.
And to Lee's comment, I don't know if I've got this right. 911 is probably one of the other agencies, and probably solid waste.
No, it's not
PBA?
solid waste. Building, yeah, the public building authority.
Okay.
Thank
Public
you.
building authorities, the other one.
And they're on the target online, I was just looking.
Okay.
Thank you.
I couldn't think of it. I knew it was public building authority and the 911, which I think they call emergency communications or management. Yeah, you know what I'm talking
I do.
about. And I'm pretty sure those are fairly small audit reports. We probably need to look at them.
We will. We'll get those on our April 19th agenda and take care of that. And we'll also send out the request for the board of the foundation to come in the hospital. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Meeting adjourned.